My name is Ryan, and I am creating a tool called SandCat. SandCat is just a tool set, really, with the goal of helping game designers, design games. Currently, if you want to design a game, you have to pretty much be a programmer, and I think that's a big problem. It'd be nice if game designers could just focus on the actual game and not have to worry about memory management or any other software engineering requirements like that. So that's SandCat is a tool set that is hopefully going to allow designers to do that. Um, and so at its core, SandCat is just a new kind of game description language, but it's also a bundle of tools that allows you to write games in this language and prototype them and have other people play them. So today, I just wanted to record myself making a game in SandCat, just to kind of get some feedback and see what people thought about it, if they thought it would actually be helpful. Because one of the goals for me for SandCat is to create something that's actually useful. I don't want to, I want to have an impact on day-to-day game design immediately, like tomorrow. So if what I'm creating isn't going to actually help designers, then I want to know that. So I'm just going to record myself playing a game or making a game, just something simple, and then let me know what you think. I'm also going to kind of talk through. This will also be like a little bit of a tutorial, just to kind of talk through how everything works and what I'm doing. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's do that. So SandCat is a rules description language. That's kind of the core of it. So it looks something like this. But this just describes the game. You also kind of need software backend stuff to actually play it. I pretty much use Unity for that. Pretty much how it works is there's a library that I wrote that takes SandCat rules as input, and then it outputs like a playable game. Pretty much. It's more complicated than obviously, but that's kind of the core of it. So that's why we're working in excuse me. That's why we're in Unity right now. So how it's going to work is we're going to write rules here, and then we're going to use Unity to display and interact with the rules. And that's pretty much it. So let's so I have a new scene here. It's completely brand new. There's nothing, and I have a runner prefab that you can just drag in, and this is what allows you to interface with the library. So you can drag in a rules text file here, and then this will parse the rules and all that. So we gotta create a file for the rules. Oops, not Excel. So here's this. Get rid of those. Now we can drag that into the runner and reload, and we get an error that says the rules file is empty, which it is, so that error makes sense. So let's talk through this game real quick. So this is just going to be kind of a simple tactical little game. So I'm imagining. So also here's another piece is another goal for SandCat is to have it be very iterative and fluid. Obviously, when you're designing a game, you have ideas, but nothing's perfect. You kind of need to prototype and play it and see how it feels, and then you want to make some changes, and you go back and make some changes. And so SandCat is designed to allow you to make those changes quickly and easily. So with that in mind, this game that we're going to make today, I haven't really thought about it too much. It's just something kind of a general idea I have in my head. Something that should be pretty simple, pretty easy, but not at the same time not too simple, not too easy. So we're going to have to kind of explore our way through this. I don't have a concrete specific way that I know how this is going to be done. I don't have a design document written up or anything, and that's because SandCat is designed to work alongside that workflow. So basically what I'm thinking for this game is we'll have an avatar character that you can move around on a grid, and then there will be enemies that come in from the top, and you can move your character, and then if you bump into the enemies, you'll attack them, you'll do some damage, and then they'll also attack you. And then you'll have hit points, and you'll have damage. And the enemies will have hit points, and they'll have damage. And that'll be it. There's no real goal. I haven't really thought of a goal for this type of thing. I'm mostly interested in just describing like the rules. Anyways, so let's do that. So first off, we need like a grid, and we want a little character walking around on it. So let's just do this. Let's do board. Let's do grid width. Let's do a grid of 5 by 5. Actually, let's do a width of 4 and a height of 6. So this is just some state. It's just variables. You can just declare variables like this in SandCat. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And so now we can reload the rules here, and we see that it loaded fine. So now let's display a grid. I have a lot of little utility classes written up here in Unity that help you prototype stuff quickly, and something that comes up a lot is a grid. So we're going to create a text. We'll delete this. We just want the canvas. And then we'll create an empty for the grid, and we'll name it grid, and then we can drag this grid component onto here. And there's an option here is width fluent name. So that's this grid width, height, grid height, grid cell. So this is the prefab that it's going to use for like each piece of the grid. So I have a little prefab for that too. Let's see here. Yeah, let's move this down. And then now default grid cell. We're gonna make this a little bit bigger. We have a height of 6, so we gotta fit 6 of these, and that's maybe too big. And then we can just drag this here, and this grid size controls how like the spacing of the grid. So now we can just play this, and then we can increase this grid size and it'll space everything out. But you can see pretty much the basis of it like working already. And then we'll copy this. I'll move this down and then paste this. And so you can see that how this works. We're loading this text file, and this component gets those values and creates a grid from them. And you can kind of, if we want to change this, you can just do it on the fly. If we wanted the width to be 10, let's put in 10, play it again, and then now we have a grid width of 10. Let's go back to 4. So you can, that just kind of verifies that everything's working. So that's good. So now we go to grid. Now we need like a player. So we're going to need a player X, player Y. That's good. Now we're going to need a little player character. Oops, we want this to be on the canvas. Name this player. And then we're going to want an image so you can see him. I have some free sprites I took from online. You can use this little Mario dude. Pull him off here. And then we also have another thing we have is another utility class I wrote is place in grid, and this just puts something on the grid. So this wants a state value for grid X, state value for grid Y, and the grid. So we can give it the grid right now, and then we need to give it 2 state values. And this state value is the class that allows you to grab state from the rules from the file. So because there's lots of different ways to organize the state. You can have arrays and entities, but these are just like raw fluent state values. So we're gonna change this to fluent name, player X. We're gonna drag this one into player X. Gonna create another one for the player Y, fluent. Oh, and another thing I probably should have said at the beginning is all of this is like still a work in progress. So I'm sure a lot of it'll change. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. It's all actively being developed on. So yeah, so this will put the player in on the grid. So you can play it, and bam, now we got a player. And we can change this to like 5 if we wanted. I guess that'd be off the grid, so we can make it 2. And we play it, and you can see the player is at the correct position. So now we want to be able to move our character around with the arrow keys. So to do that, you create player actions. So we're going to go move player up, 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 player action, does player x equals player x minus 1, actually plus 1, if player x is less than grid height. Yeah, so that's how you create kind of player actions. So this is the name of it. This is like what it is. Player actions, these follow the pattern of does if. So this will happen if this is true. Not too complicated. So now we got to interface with that, call that, got to run that from Unity. So we have more utility classes for that. So we have key, action key, and that will, when we press a key, it'll execute that action. So when we press the up arrow, we want to do the action, move player up. And now we can play, and press the up key, and so you can see it's doing something, but I did the wrong thing. It needs to be right. Let's try again. Perfect. So this, he can't go all the way up to the grid. So I think this needs to be minus 1. Let's just try this. So there you go. Perfect. So now we can move up, and now we just want to do the same things for down, left, and right. But we're going to do something a little bit different. So another thing you can do in here with SandCat is create events. And events are just things that the game itself does, not things like the player does. Events might be triggered by things the player does, but they're not. The player is not going to like himself do an event. So we're going to create an event for moving the player. So move player, and these events are just a nice way to reuse behavior. So we're going to do the same thing, and they follow the same pattern. Move player equals event, and events can have parameters basically. So, and the parameters you put after the using. So it's going to go new x, new y, does player x equals new x, and player y equals new y if player y is greater than 0 and player, actually I want this to be y, and new y is less than grid height. And then this will allow us to kind of reuse stuff. So now we can just say does move player, player x, player y minus 1, and then now we can do down. Oh, I swap these. Yeah, so this will call this and do this. This keeps us from like copy and pasting a bunch of stuff. So let's make sure that we didn't break anything. So we can still, oh, well, we did break something. So now we have, we can see down here. I'll drag it over. There we go. So we got an error. Line 10 could not find filament if new. So let's go look. Line 10. So I think it might be the tab there that's causing the problem. Let's try it. Does if. There we go. So now we can move up. That's all good. So we can't move all the way up. So if new y minus 1. Let's try that. Let's see if we can move all the way up. There we go. Okay. So now we move down. Let's try moving down. Up. So that's I'll just ignore that. That's just a problem with the library. That's not relevant. So we can't move down. Oh, so we can't move down because I don't have an action key for down. So we gotta put in that. So the action was not actually being like executed. So we'll put in an arrow, down arrow, move player down, player again, up. That's fine. Down. Okay, perfect. Looking good. And these kind of errors that you're seeing every once in a while, they're like part of the this is not complete yet. I'm still working on this. There are still bugs and problems here and there. Okay, so now we should do left and right. Left, right. Left is going to be -1. Right is going to be +1. And now we want to put these same things in for these same conditionals in for horizontal. So we're going to take this, put it here. New x, if the new x position is greater than 0, and the new x position -1 is greater than grid width, less than grid width, then we will move. If that is not true, then you can't move. Let's try it. Oh, well, we got to put in action keys. Let's do this. Scroll all the way down to move arrow, right arrow. Move player right. Let's try that. Looking good. Okay. Now we want to move left. Another action key. Left arrow. Whoa. Okay. I think I locked my computer there. Anyway, move player left. Okay. Now let's play again. So we can move up, down, right, left. Perfect. And we can't move off the grid. So that's pretty great. That's looking good. Now let's do. See what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're gonna have the player's gonna have a few action points, maybe 3 or 4, and then once they're used, so like moving, we'll take an action point. And then once you've used all of them, then the enemies will take a turn, and then you get 3 more action points or whatever. So let's add that in. Okay, so yeah, so let's do those action points. So anytime the player moves, they're going to consume an action point, but only if they do actually move. You know, if they try to move into like off the grid, that's not considered like a move. So let's just do this. Player AP equals 3. Let's do player max AP equals 3. Okay. And then now if they do move, then player AP equals player AP -1. So that's good. And then now we're going to want, if player AP is equal to 0, then enemies take a turn. And the player gets more action points. They're refilled. So another thing we can do in the language is we can add any number of these does-ifs that we want, and they're all evaluated separately. So we can have another one. So let's just put another one down here. Does enemy turn if, well, the enemies will take a turn and player AP equals player max AP if player AP equals 0. Yeah, so this executes, or this is checked, and then this executes, and then this is checked, and then this executes. yeah. So now let's add just a kind of a dummy event. So what do enemy turn event does nothing. Let's just take this out for now. It might not work if we have an empty event, but we can put that in later. So let's do that. So now we want to display that on the board. So we want to kind of display it on the right. So we're going to create a new text. Let's make it white. Make it bigger. Make the font size bigger. Scroll it down. Okay. Let's do that. Let's put it up here. Let's do this. We're going to make a little title thing. And we're going to make this one bold. And we're going to put a number under it. Kind of make this one. Okay, sure. And so now another utility that we have is we can just display fluent text display, and this will just display this state value in the text in Unity. And this also needs another state value class, so you can put it here, error component, and this is just a fluent, and it's called player. What do I call it? Player repeat. Okay. Just like that. And then after play it, once you do those, you can see 3 over here, and just to verify it's working, we change this to like 100, 101, play it, and there you go. So now let's change this back to 3, and so now we want to make sure that when we move, we lose an action point. So there you go. So we move up, deduct an action point, move up, deduct 1 action point, and then now this next time we move, it should go back to 3, which is perfect, because, you know, we used one, the enemies took a turn, and then it refilled all of our action points. And you can see if we try to move off the edge, it doesn't execute, because the player's not actually doing a move. So that's looking good. Ugh, just ignore that. Work in progress. So, looking solid. Now I got action points. Now we kind of want just an enemy. So let's do... So we're going to want more than one enemy. So, if you know, for an enemy we could do enemy x equals, you know, 2, enemy y equals 2, but we're going to want more of these, and so if we wanted more, we'd have to like copy these, and it'd be a huge pain. So what we can do is we can just create arrays and entities, so the array will hold just a bunch of enemies. So we're going to put enemies equal, so this is, so first off, we're going to create an entity of an enemy, and that entity is going to be, it's just going to hold their HP, X position, Y position, and that's it. And we're going to want multiple of these, but let's make 3 of them for now. And let's make their X position, we want them to start at the top of the board and then move down. So their X position is going to be random. You can just create random numbers like this, 1, 2, grid, width. That's going to make them somewhere on the top, or just, you know, a random horizontal position, and the Y position is going to be grid height. So that'll make them somewhere randomly on the top row. And we're going to have 3 of them. So that's looking good. So now we want to display them first. So let's do that. So we're going to want to create another empty, another enemy. We're going to create an image for them. Let's give them a little, let's see, what do we want to use here? We could use this little fire thing. Let's do the fire. It'd be nice to have like a character, but these ones are kind of small. So that's what the enemies look like, these little fires. So they're going to be like that, and then we want to do the same thing, place them in grid. We're going to want some state values, we're going to have 2 of them. And these are both going to be arrays, because that's what this is. This is an array. And then the array name is this. Oops. It is not a 2D array. The array index is start at 1. Fluent is going to be X position, which is this. Same for this. Y position. And then we want to put these here. Come on. And then now we want to get this the grid. And so that's an enemy. Now let's play it. See if he's on the grid. So bam. So let's play it again to make sure it's like getting a random position. Perfect. Let's try again. Let's make sure he's not just... So there you go. So now you can see he's getting a random position in the top row. Let's change this to 2. I think 3 is going to be a little bit crowded up there. We actually only want 2 of them. And so now we want... So this is just one of them, but we want to make another. So first let's make this a prefab, so we can reuse it easily. We're going to create another one. We're just going to change this to 2. So that creates the second index in the array. And there's nothing to prevent them from being in the same position. This just chooses a random number between 1 and this grid width. So it's completely conceivable that they would have the same X position. So they might be on top of each other, which is something we might want to prevent later, but right now I probably won't worry about it. So there's that. And we also, let's give them hit points. Let's start out with 3, and let's display that. So we're going to create a UI, text, HP. We're just going to display it right on the character here. I'm going to create this bigger, because Unity, we always got to create text big like this in Unity. Yeah. Wait. Okay, good. Let's pull these off to the side here. And then let's put this one up. And then this one, we're going to create this text small. We're going to make it like a number, because their HP is going to be that. I'll put it like here, maybe a little bigger. Okay. Now we can, now we want to do the same thing. We want a text display. We want text display, state value. This is going to be an array. Enemies index of 1, and this is going to be HP. And we're going to put this here. And we can play it. Let's play it and see if that gives us. Okay, perfect. Let's change this to 2 just to make sure it's working. Oh, good. Change that to 3. Now let's apply this prefab so that the other one gets it 2. But we have to change this to 2 because we want the second index for this guy. Now I can play it. Alright, now they're on top of each other again. But now we have some hit points we can see for these little fire dudes. So now, let's do this. Let's also make them have different speeds. So one of them, let's have them have a random speed between 1 and 2. And so when they take their turn, they're going to move whatever their speed is, move forward whatever their speed is. So we can just do this, something like that. And this is also like, this is where SandCat is supposed to be good. You know, I didn't imagine coming into this that I wanted to have these fire enemies to have speed, but I do now, and so I made it, and it's not too difficult. So let's also display that speed, just so I can see that it's working. So let's create another one of these text things. Let's make this one not bold, because that's a little bit less important. I'm going to put it down here, make it a little bit smaller. And we want to change this fluent name from HP to speed. That looks good. Let's change this. Let's apply this. Give this one, change this one to 2. Okay, that's good. Now we can play it. And there you go. This guy is going to move forward 1, and this guy's going to move forward 2 every time they take a turn. So now let's do that. Let's make the enemies take a turn. So we're going to create a enemy turn event. We're going to fill that, but we do want that to happen right here. And so here's another feature of the language that I like right now. We'll see how it turns out, but it has, for typical programmer types, it has automatic iteration is what I've been calling it. I'm not sure what other languages have this type of thing. But, so you don't have to worry about iterating through things, you can just perform actions on entire arrays, and it will do that action for all of them. So here's what I mean. So we can do using, let's do this enum, or enum, let's do en for enemies, does en x position equals x position plus speed. Yeah, so this is going to move them, actually, let's just play. It's going to move them down, so minus, yeah, it's going to move them down, whatever the speed is. And then now, since this is like a parameter, we can just pass in for that parameter the whole array, and it's going to perform this action on everything in this array. It's just going to automatically iterate through it and do all of them, no matter how many of these we have. So that's kind of nice. So that's an easy way to say, here are some enemies. They move down based on their speed. Oops, they move down based on their speed. And then they do that, when they take the turn. So that should work. Let's try that. So now I can play. So 3, 2, 1. So next. So there you go. That was pretty solid. So now. So now I have 3 action points, move up, I have 2 action points, move up, I have 1 more, so after I take this action point, after I use it, then the enemies are going to do their action. So I can move, then they do their action. This guy moves down 1, this guy moves down 2, so that's looking good. They do move off the grid because we haven't really done anything about that yet. But let's do that right now. So how about when they move off the grid, they just come back in from the top. So we're going to add just another does action here. So does en.y position equals grid height if y position is greater than, or is less than 0. So let's try that. So this is going to put them back at the top. Let's do this. Let's put them back at the top, and let's have them start in a random x position. So we want this again. So that. So now they're going to move, their y position is going to move back up the top. The x position, it's going to be, it's going to be random between 1 and the grid width, just like we initialized them. So that's good. Let's try it. So now when they go off the bottom of the grid, they should just come back at the top at a random x position. Okay. So this guy should come back. Let's try again. Okay. Let's change this if it's greater than, if it's less than or equal to 0, maybe. That might crash it. Let's try. This might crash. Because I don't think I've done less than equal to. Okay, let's make this one. Well, these guys are both slow, so. Okay, well, there we go. And maybe let's randomize their speed again when they come back up. So it's like a whole new enemy. So let's set their position back to 3, or their hit points back to 3. Let's say like the goal is to kind of kill them before they get off the bottom of the grid. So let's do 3. Set that, and then let's set their speed. Set their speed random again. Let's see how that works. Okay, these guys are both fast. Okay. Okay, so there you go. Now you can see they're totally randomized again after they go off the bottom of the grid. So it's like a brand new enemy, basically. Okay. So that's looking pretty solid. Let's, what am I at here? 36 minutes? That's kind of long. So let's have them. So now we want to be able to, like, attack them. So we can do that just by bumping into them. So like if I move left here, instead of like sharing their position, I should like take one of their hit points. So let's do that. So this is, so that's going to be, we're probably going to do that in the move player event. And we're going to want to check to see if every enemy, first off, let's do this. First off, let's not move. Don't move to the enemy's position, like if there's an enemy there. So don't share a position with an enemy. Okay, I'm back. So I fixed that. I have some water now. So let's finish this up. I had to. It's just a bug, and I know what the problem is. I was able to work around it by just moving things around. I'll fix it later. But for now, let's finish this thing. So pretty much what we're doing, I got it to work. So you can move. Let's get different random enemies, so they're not on top of each other. You can move, but you can't move into an enemy. So you can see I'm trying to move up. If I move left, that's fine. If I move right, that's fine. But I can't move, or up. I can't move into an enemy. And everything else still works the same. I can't move into either enemy. And that's what this does. So we just added, like, it's pretty much the same as I had written last time, but I moved moved the enemy turn into its own event. But I added automatic iteration for this. So now the player only moves if all of these ifs are true. Yeah, so anyways, let's keep going. So now that I can't move into enemy, instead of just not moving, I want to actually damage the enemy. So let's do that. Let's put it into a new event. Let's do check damage using enemies. And we're going to check the damage if we... Let's just put check damage right here in this thing. Anytime we try to move, we're going to check damage. Yeah, I think this is good. So check damage does en.hp equals en.hp minus 1. It's going to do that, and it's going to do player AP, because when we attack, we want to, it costs us an action point equals player AP minus 1. We want to put this check damage before check enemies, because check enemies is what refills our action points. So we want to check the damage first. So if we do that, if all, actually we don't want if all, we want if any of these, if en.x position equals player. Ooh, let's do, we actually want the new position, so we're going to want new x, new y equals new x, and en.y position equals new y. And we're going to put this here, so we're going to do player x, player y plus 1, enemies. Copy this. Let's do this, that thing, and this is going to be minus 1, this is going to be minus 1, this is going to be plus 1. Okay, so this is going to do check damage, this is an event, if it's going to remove 1 for the enemy's HP, and it's going to remove 1 of our action points if the position is equal to the position we're trying to get to, and for the x and the y, and the period. I think that looks good. Let's try it. So we move up, bump, bump, bump. So we used an action point. So let's look. So I'm going to try to move left. So I'm going to move left. Oh, we got an error, but just doing that. So there you go. So that worked, but it took an action point from both enemies, HP, yeah, okay, so it's not displaying it, it's not display, okay, I fixed it. It was just an art display. Our rolls are fine. So there you go. Damaged him, we can move over, we damage him, and then we used all our action points, and then he moved and he jumped over us. So we can damage him, damage him. I'm not sure where the guy with 0 went. Okay, there is no time shadow. So there you go. Yeah, and you can see how you could keep adding to this. You know, different enemies that do different things. Maybe you get adding like a goal to the game would be good. I think our general concept of like trying to kill the enemies before they fall off the grid is somewhat of a decent start. I mean, the point is not to design like an amazing game. The point is just to show that you can like prototype your ideas pretty quickly. And you can see how like we could add a check right here. Like if we wanted to add points for each enemy you kill, you get like a point. And we could do that pretty easily. We could even do it here. You know, if on the enemy's turn, if he is 0 or just in this damage, we could put it out here if the enemy's HP is less than a 0 or equal to 0, then we give the player a point, and you can give the player more points based on like the difficulty of the enemies. You can have the enemies attack back. You can do all sorts of stuff, but I think you can kind of see how you can kind of explore these ideas using SandCat, and that's the goal. That's what I'm going for. Okay, so I think we're going to stop here. Yeah, so that was somewhat successful, I think, and didn't take very long, which is, I think, pretty good. You know, it took maybe 4 to 5 minutes. We'll see how long the video is after I edit it. But it took maybe 4 to 5 minutes, including like the time I was not developing the game, including the time I was fixing bugs, which is pretty good. I mean, to actually code something like that, if you were gonna like code it in Unity itself without SandCat, it would take you probably longer than 45 minutes. So I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I'm just looking for feedback on if you think this is like a good direction, like if you think this would be helpful like in your everyday game development process. Yeah, because like I said, I'm trying to make something that's helpful tomorrow. You know, I'm trying to make something that's not theoretical. I'm trying to make something that's concrete, that's applicable immediately. And so I want to know like if actual game designers would think if they think they would like actually use this, if you know, if they would actually want to use it if it was working totally. So yeah, if you got this far, thanks for watching. It's pretty long. I'll try to edit it down to get to the good parts. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think.